Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Research Plus Practice. As I promised you last time, we are starting an interesting series in Research Plus Practice, which we are calling Research Plus Practice Invitation Series. In our first invitation, we have invited Professor Nilesh Gupta, a well-known finance professor from IIM. He did his doctorate and PhD from IIM Ahmedabad, and he'll be talking to us about behavioral finance and how behavioral finance can possibly answer some of your questions that you might be having in these times. Should you invest in markets or not? So today I said I'm having an interesting personality in Professor Nilesh Gupta. He's an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad and he comes from a finance background. And his research is on perceptions, and his research is on behavioral economics and behavioral finance. And we will touch upon what he thinks in 3 to 4 short questions. What does he looks at the current economy and what would he suggest to us? So, Professor, thanks for being with us and welcome to Research Plus Practice. There's one question that most of our participants have been asking us, and one of them is, should you be in the market in this present time or not? And this can be as an individual investor or even as from a corporate finance angle, people who are looking to invest in businesses.
First of all, thank you very much, Shantam, for your kind invite and the introduction. Yes, I understand how this is a very tough time for any person who has money to either put it in the financial markets or invest in businesses. Let us just break this down into 2 parts. First, let us deal with financial markets, since that is the more regular / easier thing to talk. All right. Now, so there can be 2 cases if you wish to invest money in the markets, in the financial markets. First, if you're already an investor, you have existing investments, or if you're going to invest for the first time. Now, if you're already in markets, then my suggestion would be to don't take your money out of the markets at these points of time. Why? Because there is a well-known effect in individual investors, which is called as the disposition effect, which is the tendency to hold your losers, to tendency to sell. There's a tendency of people to sell when there is heavy bearish sentiment. Now, what does that mean? What does that imply? Basically, you are selling at a time when the market is too low, and therefore you are not being able to make the entire losses, or you're not being able to make the entire profits that you have. Buying high and selling low is not the advice that finance professors or market practitioners give to people, but turns out that is the general behavior that people have. They buy when the market sentiment is at the highest because everybody is buying, and then they leave at the worst possible time when the sentiment is low. The correct behavior that one should have in such cases is to do the reverse, which is to buy at low prices and sell when everyone else is buying. Now, I understand how that following that advice takes a lot of effort, and it is very difficult to silence the voices in your head and of your colleagues and compatriots who say that this is the right time to take money out or this is the right time to take money in. But then, as many people have said, you will never make money if you just follow the herd. You'll only get skimmed. So,
even in these times, we should be investing in the market.
I would say if you are very worried about the market, then for those people who are invested already, they should not take their money out.
Okay.
I don't have a problem if you are invested in the market, you don't bring more money in, you are scared, it's okay. You don't bring more money, you don't add more money to the markets. I'm okay with that. Okay, but please don't take
and in our last video we talked about financial risk and competitive risk, and we looked at
I just have another point to make. So this is for the people who have already put their money in the market. Now, for those people who are going to put their money for the first time, I am going to say that there is never another time. There is never a better time to start apart from now. So start investing. Start investing slowly. You anyways don't have a lot of money put in. Start slowly. Start testing the market. Learn about investing the markets. There is nothing. A crisis is the best teacher in financial markets. So for people who are investing for the first time, I would say start slow, but start. And for those who have already invested money, please don't take your money out right now. You will lose quite a lot.
So with that encouragement, I'll move from the individual to a corporate investor and companies who are investing in businesses. We looked in our last episode on research plus practice. We touched upon an interesting part. We said there is financial risk assessment for sure. And there's also called competitive risk assessment, where companies, when they do not invest for long, lose out competitive edge, or they lose out competency once the crisis gets over. So what are your feedback to people in industry or practitioners worried about whether they should be making those investments or not? Maybe a new plant, maybe a new expansion. Any thoughts, any feedback from your experience?
See, one of the classical things that are taught in corporate finance that we teach in the first year corporate finance is to keep the investing decision and the financial decision separate. Okay, so practically speaking, when we speak about financing an investment, when we speak about an investment, we do not add financial costs of doing that investment to the model. These two decisions ought to be kept separate. Okay, so now if you wish to invest, if you think that the returns are greater, right, and this has to be your own justification. This cannot be once again a herd mentality. You cannot be starting to invest when everybody is saying you should invest, or you should not pull your money out when everybody says that you should pull your money out, right? Please continue. So in fact, crisis is a place where everyone is losing their heads, and the sane person is the one who is just waiting for to lose his head a little later. Wait out, see what happens, see what happens in the markets. Don't take snap decisions. So one of the things that behavioral biases which we have is confirmation bias, or we have followers of herd mentality. When people around us, our friends, our family, business associates are telling us that this is not the right time to invest, even if we have conviction for the investment, we don't do. It takes a lot of courage to get out of this group thing. So what I'm saying,
I'll come in with the question here. Just to tell all our viewers, you would have heard about herd mentality and confirmation bias and behavioral aspects, and that is because, as I shared in the beginning, Professor Nilesh did his dissertation and comes from the field of behavioral finance. And before he ventures any further in this, I would like him to give our viewers a very short definition of what he believes is behavioral finance, and maybe one short example to illustrate that point.
So behavioral finance is, let's start philosophically. Human beings are imperfect. We all have our own shortcuts of making decisions. We are influenced by society. We are influenced by what we see on the news. Okay, and all of this leads to changes in our moods. Now, anyone who has lived this life knows that a bad mood can make you question your well thought out investment plan, and a good mood can make you not question something because you're in a good mood. So behavioral finance is a subject where we examine the behavioral biases that all individuals have on their financial decisions. Now, you can ask, why did we name it behavioral finance? Okay, no, there are other related subjects such as behavioral economics, behavioral operations now, and so on and so forth. But why did behavioral finance pick up earlier? Very simple reason. Finance generates a lot of data. We have data for stock market prices. We have data for investment decisions. We have data for the long run output of your decisions. We have data for short run output of your decisions. Finance has had data for long. So the question is, the first place where we could test what is the impact of our decisions was finance. So which is why behavioral finance as a field started to, germinate in late 90s, and then really took off by the mid 2000s or 2010s.
So we'll take a brief pause here, and this will be the part 1 of the video where we covered whether you should invest in the markets right now and how behavioral finance answers some of those questions. So keep watching. We are putting up part 2 of this discussion with Professor Nilesh Gupta in a couple of days. Look forward to you joining us again. Thank you and goodbye.